Hey everybody, it's Mr. Shore. Today's lesson is going to be on plot. Plot is the sequence of events in a piece of literature. It's what happens in a story. When we say plot, you might think of, hopefully, the plot diagram, this map that goes up and down. This is the course of a novel. This is the course of a story. It has 6 distinct parts: the exposition, the initiating event, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, the resolution. Now, this diagram might go by many different names, such as a witch's hat, the mountain. I like to compare it to a roller coaster. And as we go through each part, you'll see why. So we're going to start with the exposition. The exposition is the beginning of the story. It gives us the background information that we need to know heading into the story so that we can understand what's happening better. So that it's not like we're just dropped in and have no knowledge of what's going on. The exposition gives us the setting, the characters, the major characters, and the basic situation. Here's what is gone on in this story, this section of life. Here's who we have, and here's when and where it takes place. This is the beginning. Nothing happens. It just gives us an idea of who we're going to be dealing with, what's going to be important moving forward. Think about in the roller coaster, the exposition is the very beginning. Well, in the very beginning of the roller coaster, you're in line, you sit in the car, and you have an idea what the roller coaster is going to be like. You have an idea if there's going to be a loop, if it's going to be in the dark, if it's going to be super fast, but your car actually hasn't moved yet. It's waiting to start the story, which takes us to the initiating event. The initiating event introduces or kicks off the central conflict. If this event in the story doesn't happen, what follows wouldn't happen either. It seems very obvious to say, but this sets off a very specific set of actions and consequences. If we liken that to the roller coaster, if you remember on the plot diagram, the initiating event is at the end of that line of the exposition and it starts to go up. Well, on a roller coaster, you start on a flat track, and then in most roller coasters, you start to go up. That point where it starts to go up would be the initiating event. Now you're moving. Now you're going to be building anticipation for that big drop, that big loop, whatever it may be. It's the same thing in the initiating event of a story. It's that part where we've been introduced to the characters, we know what's happening in the story, or we know at least who we're dealing with. Now we've got a conflict about to start, which is going to set this story in motion, just like the roller coaster is set in motion. As you're going up, you have the rising action. This is all of the events which build and continue the central conflict. This is where a lot of the tension is started to get revealed. If you think of the roller coaster, as you're going up the incline, your tension is building. You know that you're going to get to the drop, and each inch closer you get, the more anticipation that has been built, that you get ready to really enjoy the ride. Then we have the climax. The climax is the turning point of the story. It's where everything changes. If you think about the roller coaster compared to that witch's hat, so to say, the climax is at the top. No longer are you building anticipation. No longer are you going up. This is the point where everything's going to change, where now you're going to be going down. You're going to be going faster, and you're going to be screaming and enjoying yourself. As we get to the climax, which is a very intense part of the story, we then head into the falling action. Falling action is the events which begin to wrap up the conflict. So the conflict has been shared, the conflict is occurring between characters. Now we need to figure out how to solve that conflict. We're closer to the end than we are the beginning. Again, with the roller coaster, we've gone up, we've turned, Now we're heading back down at a very fast speed, but we know that we're coming to an end soon. And finally, we have the resolution. The resolution is how the conflict is resolved or ended. It doesn't have to be a happy ending, but it's how the story ends. It's how the characters feel about what happened in the story. It's the resolution of the roller coaster. The ride slows down and goes back to that flat track that you started on. And then you can reflect on if you enjoyed the ride or you cried the whole time and never want to do it again. That is plot. Those are the elements of plot and the order and how you can enjoy the story. One thing I do want to point out, please, if you're reading something, wait till you get to the rising action to really make a decision whether you like it or not. A lot of people stop at the exposition, they read a page or two and they're like, this isn't for me, but nothing's happened yet. Wait to see what the conflict is before you give up on it. All right, that's plot. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns.